Surprise attack. It was just another Tuesday morning. People all over Earth were going about their day as usual. Kids were in school, adults were at work, and the streets were busy with cars and buses. Nobody knew that high above them, in the dark emptiness of space, everything was about to change. Suddenly, the sky lit up like it was on fire. Huge ships, bigger than anything humans had ever seen, appeared out of nowhere. They were so big that they blocked out the sun in some places, casting large shadows over cities and towns. In New York, a hot dog seller named Joe looked up from his cart. His mouth fell open, and he dropped the hot dog he was holding. "What in the world?" he said, his eyes wide with shock. All around the world, scenes like this played out. In Tokyo, office workers pressed their faces against windows, staring at the massive ships hovering over their city. In Rio de Janeiro, people on the beach stopped their games and pointed at the sky, their faces a mix of awe and fear. Inside these giant ships were aliens from all over the galaxy. They were part of something called the Galactic Council. This group thought they ruled everything in space. Now they had come to Earth to take over. The leader of the Galactic Council, a tall blue alien named Zorax, stood on the bridge of the biggest ship. He looked down at Earth with his 4 eyes and smiled. "These humans will be easy to defeat," he said to his crew. "They're so far behind us in technology. They'll probably give up as soon as we show them our weapons." But Zorax and the Galactic Council were making a big mistake. They thought humans were weak because Earth didn't have spaceships or laser guns. They didn't know that humans could be very clever and brave when they needed to be. As the alien ships appeared, Earth's leaders scrambled to respond. In the White House, the President of the United States called an emergency meeting. Leaders from all over the world joined in through video calls. Everyone looked worried and confused. "What do we do?" asked the President of France, her voice shaking a little. "We've never dealt with anything like this before." The room was silent for a moment. Then, the Prime Minister of India spoke up. "We must stay calm," he said firmly. "Panic will not help us. We need to think and plan." While the world leaders talked, something interesting was happening. Regular people all over Earth were starting to react in ways the aliens didn't expect. In a small town in England, an old man who had fought in wars long ago started organizing his neighbors. "We've faced tough times before," he told them. "We'll face this one too." In a high school in California, a group of students who were good at computer games started thinking about how to use their skills. "If we can beat alien invaders in games," one of them said, "maybe we can figure out how to do it for real." And in a lab in Kenya, a young scientist looked at the alien ships through her telescope. Instead of being scared, she got excited. "Think of all we could learn," she said to her colleagues. "If we can understand their technology, maybe we can use it." The aliens noticed none of this. They were too busy preparing for what they thought would be an easy victory. Zorax sent a message to all of Earth's devices. Phones, computers, TVs, everything. His huge face appeared on screens everywhere. People gasped as they saw an alien for the first time. "People of Earth," Zorax said, his voice deep and echoing. "We are the Galactic Council. Your planet now belongs to us. Don't try to fight back. You can't win. If you surrender now, we'll be nice to you. If you don't..." He paused for effect. "Well, you won't like what happens." Zorax expected the humans to start panicking. He thought they'd beg for mercy or try to run away. But that's not what happened at all. Instead, all over the world, humans started to get angry. They didn't like being told what to do, especially not by some alien who just showed up out of nowhere. In New York, Joe the hot dog seller shook his fist at the sky. "Hey, you big blue bully," he yelled. "Why don't you come down here and say that to my face?" In Rio, a group of kids on the beach started throwing sand at the alien ships. Even though the ships were way too high to hit, it didn't matter. It made them feel better to do something. And in that lab in Kenya, The young scientist smiled as she watched all this on the news. Zorax doesn't know humans very well, does he? She said. We don't give up easily. As the day went on, more and more people started to come together. Neighbors who had never spoken before now stood side by side, looking up at the ships and planning what to do. Scientists from different countries began sharing ideas over the internet, and regular people everywhere started thinking of ways they could help. By the end of that first day, Earth was changed forever. The aliens had come, thinking it would be easy to take over, but they had made a big mistake. They had underestimated humans. And now, all over the planet, people were getting ready to show these aliens just how wrong they were. As night fell, the alien ships still hung in the sky, their lights glowing in the darkness. But down on Earth, lights were glowing too. In homes and offices, in labs and schools, people were working together, planning and preparing. The Galactic Council thought they had won before the fight even started. But the truth was, the real battle was just beginning, and humans were ready to show the universe what they could do. Humans fight back. The sun rose on the second day of the alien invasion. The huge ships of the Galactic Council still hung in the sky, casting long shadows over the Earth. But something had changed. The shock and fear of the first day were gone. Now there was a new feeling in the air: determination. All over the world, humans were getting ready to fight back. They didn't have fancy spaceships or laser guns like the aliens, but they had something the Galactic Council didn't expect: creativity and courage. In a small town in Texas, an old crop duster pilot named Bill had an idea. He walked out to his rusty old plane, patting its side. "Well, old girl," he said with a grin, "ready for one last flight." Bill's plan was simple but clever. He filled his plane with a special mix of fertilizer and other chemicals from his farm. Then he took off, flying straight towards one of the alien ships. The aliens saw him coming. They laughed at the small, slow plane. "Look at this primitive vehicle," one alien said. "It's not even worth shooting down." But Bill had a trick up his sleeve. As he got close to the ship, he sprayed his special mix all over its surface. The chemicals reacted with the alien metal, creating a thick fog that covered the ship's sensors. Suddenly, the alien ship was blind. It couldn't see where it was going. The aliens inside started to panic, bumping into each other as they tried to figure out what was happening. Bill flew back home, laughing all the way. "Sometimes," he said, "the old ways are the best ways." Meanwhile, in Japan, a group of teenage gamers were hard at work. They had noticed something interesting about the alien ship's movements. "They move just like the bad guys in Cosmic Crusher 3000, said Akira, the leader of the group. The teens had an idea. They connected their game controllers to the systems controlling Japan's defense robots. It wasn't easy, but they were good with computers. When the aliens sent down some smaller ships to scout the area, they got a big surprise. The defense robots, now controlled by the gamers, moved with incredible skill. They dodged alien attacks easily and fought back in ways the aliens had never seen before. "What's happening?" shouted an alien commander. "How can they be so good at fighting?" The teens high-fived each other. "Level up," Akira yelled happily. In Africa, a different kind of fight was happening. A team of wildlife experts had a wild idea. They set up huge speakers near a group of alien ground troops. Then they played recordings of angry elephant sounds, turned up as loud as possible. The aliens, who had never heard anything like it, panicked. They thought they were being attacked by giant, unseen monsters. They ran back to their ships, leaving behind a lot of their equipment. Local people quickly gathered up the alien gear. "We may not understand how it works yet," said Dr. Mosu, a scientist who was there, "but we will learn. And then we'll use it to defend our home." Even in the oceans, humans were finding ways to fight back. A group of marine biologists noticed that the alien ships avoided areas with lots of whales. "They must be sensitive to the whale songs," one biologist said. The low frequencies might interfere with their equipment. Soon, navies around the world were working with the biologists. They used special underwater speakers to play whale songs, creating safe zones where human ships could move without being detected. Up in the big alien ship, Zorax was getting angry. Things were not going as he had planned. How are these primitive humans causing so much trouble? He yelled at his advisors. One of the advisors, a small green alien named Slix, tried to explain. Sir, it seems we may have underestimated them. They're using their planet against us in ways we didn't expect. Zorax didn't want to hear it. Nonsense, he shouted. They just got lucky. Prepare for a full attack. We'll show them real power. But Slix wasn't so sure. He had been watching the humans closely. He saw how they worked together, how they came up with clever ideas. For the first time, he wondered if the Galactic Council had made a big mistake. As Zorax prepared his attack, humans all over the world were sharing their successes. News spread quickly about Bill's fog trick, the Gamer Kid's robot fight, and the elephant sound plan. Each story gave people more hope and more ideas. In Brazil, a group of engineers was already working on a new plan. They were building giant kites that could carry small, homemade explosive devices up to the alien ships. In India, yoga instructors were teaching people how to slow their breathing and heart rates. This helped them avoid detection by alien life sign scanners. And in Antarctica, scientists found that the cold confused the alien sensors. They started making plans for ice-covered stealth boats. As the sun set on the second day, the mood on Earth had changed completely. Yes, the aliens were still there. Yes, they were still scary and powerful. But now, humans knew something important. They could fight back, and they were good at it. Zorax might think he had the upper hand, but the humans had a secret weapon he couldn't understand. They had billions of people, all thinking, all planning, all working together to save their home. The alien leader looked down at Earth from his ship, seeing the lights of cities spread out below. He thought those lights showed weak, scared people, but he was wrong. Each light was a sign of humans hard at work, getting ready for whatever came next. The battle for Earth was far from over, but one thing was clear. The Galactic Council's easy victory was not going to happen. The humans were in the fight, and they weren't going to give up. As night fell, people everywhere went to sleep with a new feeling. Hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but also new ideas, new plans, and new ways to show the aliens that humans were a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council had started this war, but the humans were going to finish it. Secret weapon time. As the third day of the alien invasion dawned, Earth was buzzing with activity. Humans weren't just fighting back anymore. Now, they were working on secret weapons that could change everything. In a hidden lab under the streets of London, a team of scientists was hard at work. They had pieces of a crashed alien ship spread out on tables. Dr. Emma Chen, the team leader, picked up a strange, glowing object. "This is it," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is what powers their ships." The team had been working nonstop, mixing Earth tech with the alien stuff they found. It wasn't easy. The alien tech was like nothing they'd ever seen before. But humans are good at figuring things out, especially when they need to. "If we can make this work," Dr. Chen said, "we'll have weapons that can actually hurt those big ships." Meanwhile, in a college dorm room in America, a group of computer science students was typing furiously on their laptops. They had noticed something weird about the alien communications. "Guys, look at this," said Tanya, the team's best coder. "The aliens' computer systems, they're not protected against viruses." The aliens were so advanced, they thought they didn't need antivirus software. This was a big mistake. "I've got an idea," said Marco, another student. "What if we make a special virus? One that's hidden inside something the aliens won't suspect." That's when they had a crazy idea. They created a computer virus and hid it inside millions of cat videos. Then, they started uploading these videos all over the internet. The aliens are scanning all our data, Tanya explained. They'll think these are just funny videos, but when they open them, boom, shouted Marco. Their whole system will crash. Far away from Earth, on a small rocky planet, something interesting was happening. A race of small, four-armed aliens called the Ziptocs watched the news about Earth with great interest. The Ziptocs were the mechanics of the galaxy. They could fix anything, build anything, but the bigger aliens of the Galactic Council always looked down on them. "Look at these humans," said Zilax, the Ziptoc leader. "They're creative, like us, and they're standing up to the Council." The Ziptocs made a big decision. They would help Earth. Secretly, they started sending messages to human scientists, sharing some of their knowledge. Back on Earth, in a lab in South Africa, Dr. Nwosu got one of these messages. At first, he thought it was a joke, but as he read on, his eyes got wider and wider. "This is incredible," he whispered. "With this information, we can build defenses that the Council has never seen before." All over the world, humans were coming up with more ideas. In Japan, a sushi chef named Hiroshi had a strange thought while making rice. "You know," he said to his apprentice, "rice expands when it absorbs water. I wonder." Soon, Hiroshi was working with military engineers. They created special bombs filled with a rice-based mixture. When these bombs hit the alien ships, the mixture would expand, getting into all the small spaces and jamming up the alien machines. In Brazil, a team of perfume makers had their own idea. They created a super strong smell that was horrible to the aliens but harmless to humans. Soldiers started using it like a stink bomb, making areas impossible for aliens to enter. Even kids were helping out. A 10-year-old girl in Australia noticed that the alien ships made a weird sound that scared her dog. She told her parents, who told scientists. Soon, they were working on sonic weapons that could confuse the alien ship's navigation systems. Up in the main alien ship, Zorax was having a very bad day. Nothing was going as planned. "Our computers are filled with videos of small furry Earth creatures," one alien yelled. "Our ground troops can't go anywhere without gagging on horrible smells," shouted another. "And our ships are getting jammed up with some kind of expanding white grain," a third one cried. Zorax couldn't believe it. How were these simple humans causing so much trouble? He didn't know that the worst was yet to come. In a secret base under the ice in Antarctica, the final touches were being put on humanity's biggest secret weapon. It was a huge cannon, built with a mix of Earth tech, alien tech, and Ziptoc knowledge. Dr. Emma Chen stood next to it, checking the last calculations. "If this works," she said, "we can take out their biggest ships with one shot." As the sun set on the third day, humans everywhere felt a new emotion: excitement. They were no longer just defending. Now they had a chance to really fight back. Morse code messages buzzed between resistance groups. "London ready. Tokyo standing by. Nairobi in position. Buenos Aires awaiting orders." The whole world was working together, getting ready for a big push against the aliens. Secret weapons were in place. New defenses were ready. And humanity had a few surprises that the Galactic Council would never see coming. In his ship, Zorax looked down at Earth, still thinking he had the upper hand. He had no idea that right at that moment, millions of cat videos were about to crash his entire fleet's computer system. He didn't know that Earth's new sonic weapons were powering up, ready to send his ships spinning out of control. And he certainly didn't know about the giant ice cannon in Antarctica, aimed right at his main ship. As night fell, humans everywhere shared a knowing smile. Tomorrow would be the day they showed the Galactic Council that picking a fight with Earth was the biggest mistake they'd ever made. The aliens thought they were the most advanced beings in the galaxy, but they were about to learn that sometimes the best technology isn't the newest or the fanciest. Sometimes It's the one that's made when you have no other choice. Earth was ready. And the aliens? They had no idea what was coming. Big win for Earth. The fourth day of the alien invasion started with a big surprise for the Galactic Council. As the sun rose, every single one of their ships suddenly went crazy. Alarms blared, lights flashed, and confused aliens ran around trying to figure out what was happening. "What's going on?" Zorax yelled, his blue face turning purple with anger. An alien tech expert looked at him with fear in all four of his eyes. "Sir, it's the cat videos. They've infected all our systems." Down on Earth, in their college dorm room, Tanya and Marco high-fived each other. Their plan had worked perfectly. The cat video virus had spread through the alien fleet, messing up everything from weapons to life support systems. "Time for Phase 2, Tanya said with a grin. All over the world, humans were ready. In Japan, Hiroshi and his team launched their rice bombs. The bombs hit the confused alien ships, exploding into a sticky mess that got into every crack and joint. "Look!" someone shouted, pointing at the sky. "The ships are starting to fall." Unable to control their movements and gummed up with expanding rice, several alien ships began to drop from the sky. They didn't crash. The aliens managed to make emergency landings, but they were out of the fight. In Brazil, the perfume team was ready with their stink bombs. As alien ground troops stumbled out of their landed ships, they were hit with waves of the worst smell they'd ever experienced. The aliens ran away, holding their noses, or whatever they had instead of noses. "I never thought my passion for perfume would save the world," laughed Maria, the lead perfumer. "But I'm glad it did." Meanwhile, in Antarctica, Dr. Emma Chen stood next to the giant ice cannon. She took a deep breath and looked at her team. "It's time," she said. "Let's show these aliens what Earth can do." The cannon powered up with a low hum that quickly grew to a loud roar. The ground shook, and huge chunks of ice fell from the ceiling of their hidden base. Then, with a flash of light and a boom that could be heard for miles, the cannon fired. A massive beam of energy shot into the sky, heading straight for Zorax's main ship. On board, Zorax saw it coming, and his eyes widened in shock. "Impossible," he shouted. "How can they have such weapons?" The beam hit the ship with incredible force. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, cracks began to appear all over the ship's surface. Zorax and his crew watched in horror as their mighty vessel began to break apart. "Abandon ship," Zorax screamed, running for the escape pods. As Zorax's ship fell apart, something amazing happened. All over the world, people came out of their homes and looked up at the sky. They saw the giant alien ship breaking into pieces, and a cheer went up that could probably be heard in space. But the humans weren't done yet. The Australian girl's idea about sonic weapons was put into action. Giant speakers all over the world started blasting a mix of loud music and weird sounds. The remaining alien ships spun out of control, their navigation systems completely confused by the noise. Some of them crashed into each other, while others flew away as fast as they could, trying to escape the sound. In London, Dr. Chen's team was ready with their new weapons made from alien tech. They fired at the escaping ships, taking out dozens of them with pinpoint accuracy. "I can't believe it," Dr. Chen said, watching the aliens flee. "We're actually winning." Up in space, things were just as bad for the aliens. The small, friendly Ziptalk aliens had snuck aboard many of the Galactic Council's ships. Now, they were sabotaging everything they could get their four hands on. Zorax, floating in his escape pod, couldn't understand what was happening. How had it all gone so wrong? These humans were supposed to be primitive and easy to beat. Instead, they had completely destroyed his invasion force. As the day went on, more and more alien ships either crashed or ran away. The stink bombs kept any aliens on the ground from fighting back. And the cat video virus made sure none of their tech was working properly. By sunset, it was clear. Earth had won. The invasion was over. All over the planet, people came out to celebrate. There were parties in the streets, fireworks in the sky, and lots of happy tears. Humans hugged each other, even strangers, overjoyed that they had saved their home. In New York, Joe the hot dog seller was back at his cart, now selling victory dogs to the celebrating crowd. "I told those aliens not to mess with Earth," he said proudly. "We New Yorkers are tough, but today, the whole world showed how tough they are." In Rio, the kids who had thrown sand at the alien ships on the first day were now local heroes. They led a huge beach party, with everyone dancing and laughing under the stars. And in that lab in Kenya, Dr. Nwosu and his team were already studying the alien ships that had crashed nearby. "Just think of what we can learn from all this," he said excitedly. This could change everything. As night fell on the fourth day, Earth was a very different place. Humans had faced the biggest threat in their history, and they had won. Not with fancy spaceships or advanced alien weapons, but with creativity, teamwork, and a whole lot of determination. In his escape pod, drifting through space, Zorax looked back at the blue planet growing smaller behind him. He shook his head in disbelief. "Note to self," he muttered. "Next time, do better research before invading a planet." On Earth, as people settled down for the night, there was a new feeling in the air. Pride, yes, and relief. But also excitement. Because if humans could beat a whole galactic invasion, just think of what else they might be able to do. The stars twinkled brightly that night, seeming to wink at the little blue planet that had just shocked the whole galaxy. Earth had won its first interstellar war, and somehow, everyone knew it wouldn't be the last time humans would surprise the universe. Aliens get angry. The fifth day after the failed invasion began with an eerie silence. The skies over Earth were clear for the first time in days. No alien ships, no battles, just peace. But it wasn't going to last. Far away in space, on a giant space station, the Galactic Council was having an emergency meeting. Alien leaders from all over the galaxy had gathered, and they were not happy. Zorax stood in the middle of the room, looking very small and very blue. All around him, angry aliens shouted and waved their tentacles, claws, and other strange limbs. "You promised us an easy victory," yelled a rock-like alien with glowing eyes. "Instead, we lost half our fleet to cat videos and bad smells." "How did primitive humans defeat our advanced technology?" screeched a bird-like alien, flapping its wings in anger. Zorax tried to speak, but nobody was listening. The room was in chaos. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed through the chamber. Everyone turned to see where it came from. At the head of the table sat the supreme leader of the Galactic Council. He was a huge, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes. When he spoke, his voice was like thunder. "Enough," he roared. "This defeat is unacceptable. We will not let these humans make fools of us." The room went quiet. Even Zorax stopped trembling for a moment. "We will send our biggest and most powerful ship," the supreme leader continued. "The Planet Crusher." Gasps filled the room. The Planet Crusher was the pride of the galactic fleet. It was as big as a moon, and armed with weapons that could destroy whole worlds. "But sir," a small green alien squeaked, "if we use the Planet Crusher, we might destroy Earth. What about all the resources we wanted to take?" The Supreme Leader's eyes glowed even brighter. "I don't care about resources anymore. This is about respect. The humans must learn their place in the galaxy." Back on Earth, people were still celebrating their victory. In New York, they were having a big parade. Floats shaped like alien ships moved down the street, with people throwing rice and stink bombs at them for fun. But in a secret underground base, things were not so happy. Dr. Emma Chen was looking at some strange readings on her computer. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered. "The alien ships are gone, but I'm picking up a huge energy signature coming from deep space." Just then, her phone rang. It was Dr. Nwosu from Kenya. "Emma," he said, sounding worried. "Are you seeing this? Something big is coming. All around the world, scientists and military leaders started to realize that the fight wasn't over. Something was heading towards Earth, something much bigger than anything they'd seen before. In space, the Ziptocs saw it too. Zelax, their leader, sent an urgent message to Earth. Danger, it said. The Council is sending the Planet Crusher. It's the biggest, most dangerous ship in the galaxy. As the day went on, the mood on Earth changed. The parades stopped. The parties ended. People looked up at the sky with worry in their eyes. World leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. On big screens, they could see the Planet Crusher getting closer and closer to Earth. "What can we do?" asked the president of Brazil. "We used all our best tricks in the last battle. And this ship is much bigger than anything we've faced before," added the Prime Minister of India. Dr. Chen stood up. "We need to think bigger," she said. "All our weapons, all our tricks, they won't be enough this time." In New York, Joe the hot dog seller watched the news on a big screen in Times Square. The happy crowd from earlier was gone. Now people looked scared. "Hey," Joe said to no one in particular, "we beat them once. We can do it again, right?" But even Joe didn't sound so sure this time. As night fell, the Planet Crusher entered Earth's solar system. It was so big that it could be seen from Earth with the naked eye, a new scary star in the sky. On board the Planet Crusher, the supreme leader of the Galactic Council looked down at the blue planet. "Prepare the main weapon," he ordered. "We'll show these humans what real power looks like." The huge ship began to glow as it charged up its main cannon. It was a weapon so powerful that it could crack a planet in half. Down on Earth, in the secret base in Antarctica, Dr. Chen and her team worked frantically. They were trying to come up with a plan, any plan, that could save the world. "We need more time," Dr. Chen said, looking at the data streaming across her screens. "We're missing something, I know it." But time was running out. The Planet Crusher was almost in firing range. All over the world, people huddled together in their homes, in shelters, in churches and temples. They looked up at the sky, hoping for a miracle. In space, even the friendly Ziptocs were helpless. Their small ships could do nothing against the Planet Crusher. "We're sorry, Earth," Zelax said sadly, sending one last message. "We wish we could help more." As the fifth day came to an end, Earth faced its darkest hour. The Planet Crusher loomed above, ready to fire. The tricks and tactics that had worked before seemed useless now. But even in this dark moment, something was happening. All over the world, people were thinking, planning, refusing to give up. In labs and workshops, in kitchens and garages, humans were coming up with new ideas. Because that's what humans do. When things look worst, that's when they get creative. That's when they surprise everyone, even themselves. As the Planet Crusher prepared to fire, as the Galactic Council waited for their revenge, they had no idea what was coming. They thought they had won. But the humans of Earth had a few more surprises left, and the biggest battle was just about to begin. Humans' clever trick. The sixth day of the alien crisis dawned with a sense of doom. The Planet Crusher hung in the sky like a second moon, its weapon charging up to destroy Earth. But humans weren't ready to give up just yet. In the underground base in Antarctica, Dr. Emma Chen hadn't slept in 48 hours. Her eyes were red, her hair was messy, but there was a spark of excitement in her eyes. "I've got it," she shouted, startling her tired team. "We can't destroy the Planet Crusher, but maybe we can trick it." Meanwhile, in a small surf shop in Hawaii, an unlikely group had gathered. Surfers, skateboarders, and extreme sports athletes from all over the world were listening to a crazy plan. "Dudes and dudettes," said Kai, a famous big wave surfer. "I know this sounds nuts, but we might be Earth's last hope." Back in New York, Joe the hot dog seller was surprised to see a group of computer geeks setting up weird-looking antennas all over the city. "What's all this about?" he asked. Tanya, The college student who had created the cat video virus grinned at him. "We're going to play the biggest prank in history," she said. All over the world, similar scenes were playing out. People were working together, building strange devices, and preparing for something big. Up on the planet Crusher, the supreme leader of the Galactic Council was getting impatient. "Why isn't the weapon ready yet?" he boomed. A nervous alien technician gulped. "Sir, we're detecting some strange energy readings from Earth. We're trying to figure out what they are." The supreme leader growled. "Ignore them. Charge the weapon faster." Little did he know, those strange readings were exactly what the humans wanted them to notice. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen was explaining her plan to world leaders on a video call. "We're going to create a holographic shield around Earth," she said. "It won't stop their weapon, but it will make them think we have some kind of super advanced technology." "And how will that help us?" asked the president of France, looking confused. Dr. Chen smiled. "It will make them curious. And a curious enemy is one that might hesitate." As she spoke, the plan was already in motion. All around the world, people were activating special devices. These devices, made from a mix of Earth tech and salvaged alien parts, started projecting a massive hologram around the planet. From space, it looked like Earth was suddenly covered in a shimmering, colorful shield. On the planet Crusher, alarms started blaring. "Sir," shouted an alien officer, "the humans have activated some kind of planetary defense system." The supreme leader stared at the screens in disbelief. "Impossible. They don't have that kind of technology." But the evidence was right in front of his eyes. The shield looked more advanced than anything even the Galactic Council had. "Should we fire the weapon, sir?" asked another officer. The supreme leader hesitated. If the humans really had this kind of technology, firing might be a big mistake. "Hold the attack," he ordered. "Send a scout ship to investigate." This was exactly what the humans were waiting for. As the scout ship approached Earth, Kai and his team of extreme athletes were ready. They had been fitted with special suits made by Dr. Chen's team. These suits could withstand the vacuum of space for a short time. "Remember, dudes," Kai said, "we just need to get on that ship and plant the device. Easy as riding a wave." When the scout ship got close to Earth's atmosphere, Kai and his team made their move. Using experimental anti-gravity boards, courtesy of the Ziptox, they launched themselves into space. To the aliens watching, it looked like humans could now fly in space without ships. "Look at those crazy Earthlings," shouted an alien on the scout ship. "They're surfing in space." Before the aliens could react, Kai and his team had latched onto the scout ship. They quickly planted a small device on its hull, then pushed off, falling back to Earth where rescue teams were waiting to catch them. The scout ship, now bugged with Earth's device, returned to the planet Crusher. Meanwhile, Tanya and her team of hackers were ready for Phase 2. As soon as the scout ship docked with the planet Crusher, they activated their program. Suddenly, every screen on the planet Crusher started showing weird Earth memes and cat videos. But hidden in these silly images were complex codes that started messing with the ship's systems. The supreme leader was furious. "What is happening? Why am I seeing small furry animals everywhere?" But it wasn't just silly videos. The hack was also sending fake readings to the planet Crusher's sensors, making Earth look like it was protected by weapons far beyond anything the aliens had. Down on Earth, Dr. Chen watched the data coming in. "It's working," she shouted. "They're confused and scared." The planet Crusher's weapon was still charging, but now the aliens were afraid to use it. What if the humans had some way to reflect it back at them? As the day went on, the aliens became more and more unsure. The supreme leader kept delaying the attack, wanting more information about Earth's supposed superweapons. This gave the humans time to prepare more defenses, time to study alien tech, and time to come up with even more crazy plans. By the end of the 6th day, the tables had turned. Now it was the aliens who were scared and unsure, while the humans were confident and ready for whatever came next. In New York, Joe was selling hot dogs to celebrating crowds again. "I told ya," he said to anyone who would listen. "Never underestimate New Yorkers, or any humans for that matter." As night fell, the planet Crusher still hung in the sky. But it no longer seemed as scary. Humans looked up at it not with fear, but with determination. They had tricked the greatest warship in the galaxy with holograms, space surfers, and cat videos. Who knew what they might do next? The Galactic Council had come to crush Earth. Instead, they were learning a valuable lesson. Sometimes, the cleverest weapon isn't a weapon at all. Sometimes, it's a trick that makes your enemy too afraid to fight. And when it came to clever tricks, nobody in the galaxy could beat the humans of Earth. A whole new galaxy. The seventh day since the alien invasion began dawned with a strange mix of tension and hope. The planet Crusher still loomed in the sky, but it hadn't attacked. Earth's clever trick had worked better than anyone had expected. On board the massive alien ship, the supreme leader of the Galactic Council was having a meltdown. "What do you mean you can't fire the weapon?" he roared at his terrified crew. A nervous alien technician tried to explain. "Sir, every time we try to activate it, our screens fill up with dancing cats and something called Rickroll. We can't see the controls." Down on Earth, in the secret base in Antarctica, Dr. Emma Chen and her team were monitoring the situation. They couldn't believe their luck. "The cat videos are still working," Tanya exclaimed, high-fiving her fellow hackers. Dr. Chen nodded, but she looked worried. "It won't hold them forever. We need a permanent solution." That's when they received an unexpected message. It was from Zulax, the leader of the Ziptox. "Humans of Earth," the message read, "your bravery and cleverness have inspired us. We want to help you end this conflict once and for all." In New York, Joe the hot dog seller was surprised to see a small four-armed alien walking up to his cart. "One of your Earth dogs, please," the Ziptox said politely. Joe blinked in surprise, then grinned. "Coming right up, pal. Welcome to Earth." All around the world, scenes like this were playing out. The Ziptox, tired of being looked down on by the Galactic Council, had decided to openly side with Earth. Their small ship started around the planet Crusher, too quick to be caught, causing all sorts of mischief. On the planet Crusher, things were going from bad to worse for the aliens. "Sir," an alien officer reported, "the Ziptox are reprogramming our coffee machines to only serve something called pumpkin spice latte." The Supreme Leader looked confused. "What's wrong with that?" The officer shuddered. "Trust me, sir, it's horrible." As the day went on, more and more alien races started to turn against the Galactic Council. They had all heard about how a small, primitive planet had outsmarted the mighty planet Crusher. Huge ships from all over the galaxy started to arrive in Earth's solar system, but they weren't there to attack. They were there to watch, and many were secretly cheering for the humans. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen had an idea. "If we can't destroy the planet Crusher," she said, "maybe we can change it." Her team worked frantically, aided by the Ziptox and other friendly aliens. They were building something big. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, Kai and his team of space surfers were preparing for one last mission. "This is it, dudes and dudettes," Kai said. "The biggest wave of our lives." As evening approached, everything was ready. Kai and his team, riding their anti-gravity boards, shot up towards the planet Crusher. Behind them, they pulled a massive device cobbled together from Earth tech, alien parts, and a whole lot of hope. The Supreme Leader saw them coming. "Shoot them down," he ordered. But the Ziptox had done their work well. None of the planet Crusher's weapons would fire. Instead, the alien gunners found themselves playing a game called Space Invaders on their control screens. Kai and his team reached the planet Crusher. With the help of friendly aliens, they attached their device to the huge ship. "Activating now," Kai shouted into his radio. Down in Antarctica, Dr. Chen pressed a button. "Here goes nothing," she muttered. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the planet Crusher began to change. Its dark, menacing surface started to shimmer with colorful lights. Inside the ship, the Supreme Leader watched in horror as his fearsome weapon transformed. "What's happening?" he cried. An alien officer looked at his readings in disbelief. "Sir, it seems they've turned the planet Crusher into some kind of giant party ship." And indeed, that's exactly what had happened. The humans, with help from their new alien friends, had reprogrammed the planet Crusher. Instead of destroying planets, it now traveled the galaxy throwing massive parties. As night fell on the seventh day, the sky above Earth was filled with fireworks. Ships from all over the galaxy hovered in space, their crews eager to join the celebration. In New York, Joe had to enlist help to keep up with the demand for hot dogs. Aliens of all shapes and sizes lined up to try this famous Earth delicacy. Who would have thought, Joe laughed, serving a hot dog to a tentacled alien, that the way to unite the galaxy was through food and fun? In Antarctica, Dr. Chen and her team finally allowed themselves to relax. They watched on big screens as humans and aliens danced together on the transformed planet Crusher. "We did it," Dr. Chen said softly. "We really did it." Tanya grinned. "And we didn't just save Earth. We changed the whole galaxy." As the party continued both on Earth and in space, the Supreme Leader of the former Galactic Council sat alone in a corner, sipping a pumpkin spice latte and looking very confused. Zilax, the Ziptalk leader, floated up to him. "Cheer up," he said. "The galaxy's a much more fun place now, don't you think?" The Supreme Leader had to admit, as he watched a group of his former soldiers trying to do the Macarena with some humans, that things had certainly become more interesting. And so, the story of the alien invasion had a very unexpected ending. Earth wasn't just saved, it became the most popular planet in the galaxy. Aliens from all over came to visit, eager to try human food, watch human movies, and learn human dances. The planet Crusher, once the most feared ship in the universe, became the site of the biggest, longest-lasting party ever known. And humans, well, they were hailed throughout the galaxy as the species who knew how to have the most fun. Not a bad reputation to have, all things considered. As for the Galactic Council, it was replaced by a new Galactic Federation, with Earth as a founding member. Turned out, the galaxy needed a bit more fun, a bit more creativity, and a lot more cat videos. And that's how Earth, the little planet that could, changed the entire galaxy. One clever trick, one hot dog, and one party at a time.